Anybody like to read today? Assalamu alaikum. In Arabic? Anybody? No? Say it. Yeah, bismillah, man. We haven't had you read, so this should be interesting. Interesting. Cool. I told the ikhwa your name. Say that again, bro. Say it with your chest. He said his name's Abdul Rahman. I'm looking forward to this. Okay, ikhwani. Let's begin. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله تعالى نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تبارك وتعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته حياكم الله إخواني في الله. We good? Yep. Before we begin, Ikhwani, has everybody got the printouts for today? Yeah, it's two actually. Page 32 and page 33. Wow. Anybody else, Ikhwani? Don't be shy. You would like printouts? Yep. 32, 33. Last time, guys, is there anybody else that requires a printout? Cool. If anybody does come late and requires a printout, without them disturbing the lesson, you can just let them know that they can collect it from the front. Yeah, if anybody says, you know, that's where they can get it from. And it's two papers, page 32 and page 33. That's the first thing I wanted to say. Jazakumullahu khairah. The second thing I wanted to say, Ikhwani fillah, is last lesson on Wednesday, right? We covered a lot of things. We covered the last hadith was dealing with semen. All right, the semen, what is the ruling of al-mani, all right, which is the thick white fluid that comes out of a man when he ejaculates, right? We also dealt with the saliva of a camel as it came in the hadith, right? But we said that extends to Bahimat al-An'am, grazing stock, i.e. the saliva of these animals isn't impure, it's not impure. And we also dealt with the hadith pertaining to the meat of a domestic, what, Ikhwani? Donkey. All right, the meat of a domestic donkey. And I explained the difference between al-himar al-ahli, which is mentioned in the hadith, and al-himar al-wahshi, which isn't mentioned in the hadith. But they're two animals in Arabic, or they're two different categorizations of the same animal in Arabic. Does that make sense? One's a domestic donkey that you domesticate, you use for your provisions, you ride on. The other one's a wild donkey. If the wild donkey sees you, the wild donkey runs. If the domestic donkey sees you, it just chills, it knows what to do because it's domesticated. If that's the two different meanings, you're not allowed to eat the domestic donkey, but you're allowed to eat the wild donkey. However, if the meaning is they're actually two different animals, one's a domestic donkey, which you're not allowed to eat, which obviously is obviously going to include a wild donkey, and the other one is a zebra. Does that make sense, Ikhwani? Mumtaz. And when we covered, one of the other mas'alas that we covered as well, Ikhwani fillah, was the hadith pertaining to the najasa of alcohol. Question: was there a unanimous agreement across the board with the ulama as it pertains to the impurity or the najasa of alcohol? Hands up for yes. All of the ulama agree that alcohol is najis or najisa. Just a show of hands. Don't be shy. Cool. Hands up if there was a legitimate difference of opinion amongst the ulama as it relates to the najasa of alcohol. Of course, if you wasn't here last week, you wouldn't know. But I like the way you went with the crowd. You went with the jama'ah. You stuck to the jama'ah, akhi. That's from your aqidah. You stick to the jama'ah. You stay with the Muslims. That's good, man.
Follow the crowd.
No. The Muslims. Yeah. No, what was you gonna say, bro?
No, because I've come across it, the differences or the difference of opinions.
Okay,
before,
I'm with you. About alcohol, though.
Alcohol, yeah.
Cool, excellent. So last week you guys understood very, very well. Now the reason why I mentioned that is because I'm not going to go into the other side and why they say that alcohol is not najis, not impure. I just want to focus on what was the proof that I quoted that the ulama that hold that opinion say to justify and substantiate that alcohol is najisa. There was a proof. Naam. Come to Habibi, you have to come to the microphone. It's your time today, man.
The companions, they poured the alcohol on the floor when it was said that it was haram.
Okay.
So, yeah.
May Allah bless you, akhi. I definitely know that you was definitely tuned in Wednesday, sorry. However, maybe I didn't explain my question correctly. My question was, what was the proof that the group of scholars who say that alcohol is najis, that is the dalil to say that it's not, or that's the proof so that they used to say it's not najisa. Sorry, bro, let me go to Amir first. That's fine, it's an open book test. Beautiful. It mentions Richard. Beautiful. That's where I was going. What is the ayah? Yeah, let's stay on this mas'ala first though. Yeah, I know, but what we were speaking about, that was like a big 5-10 minute conversation. We went, let me just stay there so I just don't forget. What was the ayah? Again? Beautiful. You hear that, ikhwani? Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who have attained faith. Innama al-khamru, number one, indeed, alcohol, wal maisir, and gambling, wal ansabu, and sacrificing on altered stones or altar stones, wal azlamu, and what did we translate al-azlamu as, ikhwani fillah? Who can remember? We said drawing lots or divining arrows. I translated it as divining arrows. Another brother said something about being lucky, seeking luck through straws or something like that. And I'll be honest with you, I went home, I didn't feel content that that word al-azlamu was explained in an adequate fashion. So I did some research and I came back with the answer. Azlam, as it came in the hadith, the ayah, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not only did he call it rijs, it's filthy, it's impure, but he says fajtanibuhu, stay away from it. Two indications that this is najis, alcohol, najis, gambling, najis, sacrificing on altar stones, najis, al-azlam, what I'm going to explain now, najis. And what I found out is that al-azlam is the plural of the word lazam. And what it is in effect it's an arrow, but without the feathers or without the metal steel thing that you would put on an arrow. Alright? It's just basically a stick, but they call it a zalam, the plural is azlam. And what they used to do in al-jahiliyyah is this. They wouldn't, akhi fillah, Abu Sumaya, they're not drawing sticks. What they're doing is they're getting the first stick out of the three, and they're either going to write if'al, which means what? Do, or amarani rabbi, which means what? Amarani rabbi, my Lord commanded me. That either write if'al or amarani rabbi, do or my Lord commanded me on the first stick. On the second stick, la taf'al, which means what? Don't do. Or nahani rabbi, which means what? My Lord, not prevented, forbade me, right? Forbade. And the other one, they would leave it blank or write something like a'id, repeat, or something like that. And then what they would do, they would throw these arrows into some type of container, and they would get somebody to come and pick one at random. And they would use this, how we today use al-istikhara. When do we use al-istikhara? For consultation, right? We're going to get married, we want to buy a new car, we want to get that job. or whatever the case may be, we pray istikhara, we seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's guidance, and then you go with the decision that you're more inclined to do, and whatever happens, you have to believe that what? Allah wanted it, right? Qadr Allah. You should be happy with or try to be anyway, happy with that qadr. But what they used to do in al-Jahiliyyah was leave up to, this is kind of like is that like a lucky dip? It's like a lucky dip as opposed to pulling straws. So I mean, when we said drawing, this is called drawing lots, but when we said, so when we spoke about this mas'ala before, somebody said something about straws. And if you pull a straw and whoever's got the shortest straw, or maybe I did. You're right, you're probably right. Do you know what I'm saying? But in any case, I'm clarifying it now.
It's like the 8 ball, isn't it?
What's the 8 ball?
The 8 ball thing, and people shake it, and then it spins and it tells you obviously different.
Okay, now you see with that now, let's say somebody used something like that, because the obviously the devices are different, but the action behind it is one and the same. If you use something like that in order to decide an affair that should only be returned back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then this is where the issue lies. One sec, we're going to get to that. So if it says, if I'll do, he's going to say, oh, that's what Allah wants me to do. And if he picks out that if I don't do, he's going to say, okay, Allah doesn't want me to do it. And if he picks the other one that doesn't have anything written on it, then he's going to say, all right, we're going to do it again until we get one. And this is a problem from so many angles. Number one, you're lying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because just because you pick something, it doesn't mean that Allah wanted you to do that. The stick that you picked, do. That's a lie on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is going what? Outside of the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the definition of al-fisq. You ever heard of the term, so-and-so's a fasiq? This is fisq. Yeah? The ulama, they define fisq as exiting the obedience of Allah. Some describe fasiq as somebody that openly sins. Somebody drinks alcohol in the open is a fasiq. Somebody that maybe smokes or cuts his beard, especially back in those days, you'll be considered a fasiq. You guys follow me so far? Fisq is going outside the obedience of Allah. So the one that's doing this has fallen into fisq and could be labeled a fasiq. That's the first issue. The second issue is this. When it says Amarani Rabbi, right? They could have either been speaking about what did they used to worship pre-Islam? Idols and statues. Exactly. So that's now where it comes into shirk. If they're doing it because for that. That's why I said we're going to come to that. But in any case, does Islam make sense now? What they used to do now? Yeah.
He was doing.
Yeah.
He kept on saying that.
That's interesting. And but there's an issue though. There is an issue. Somebody commented on a YouTube video and they said, but didn't the Prophet ﷺ used to draw lots when he was, for example, travel with his wives? Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You with me? Which one is he going to take with him? So this is the issue, guys. When you go back and you're reading the English, you see Islam, sometimes they might translate as draw lots. And then you see, when you're reading that the Prophet ﷺ used to draw lots, you think it's exactly the same thing. What we spoke about la taf'al af'al, that's to do with what Allah wants to happen. But what the Prophet ﷺ, from what the Hadith indicate, he would get some, how did he pick between his wives? He would do something whereby the wives would have to pick, and whoever got whatever, she's the wife that he took. And people say, well, what's the difference between the two? He forbade here and he done it here. Do you know what I'm saying? To be honest, I'm still researching what's the best way to make imkan al-jam', to consolidate between the two. But needless to say, at the very least, this was something that was, allowed by the Prophet in this regard, when he was going to pick between which wives he's going to take on a journey. And not necessarily what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants him to do. I'm going to go here, then I'm going to come here.
There's an ayah talking about when the angels drew lots about Maryam or something to do with that.
I'm not too sure. I don't know.
Say I'm refereeing a football game, can I flip a coin to see who goes first?
Yeah, there's that issue. There's a competition. Let's say I do a competition today and I say the winner gets a prize, some bath salts. and Radox bath salts, yeah. So the blue, I've been meaning to buy some for a long time to give as a present. So I wanted to do a competition one day, but I just keep forgetting.
Or some Soul Glow Jericho.
Or something like that, or something like that.
Some shaving cream.
Or razors, right? Shaving cream or razors as a package, 2 for 1. But anyway, and then say 3 people won. Say 3 people won now. How do I decide who gets the prize? What my research has shown me so far, but I'm still investigating, is that in such a case, then if there's a winner in principle, then there's no problem in doing like some type of a raffle in order to nominate who's the winner. So long as there's no money involved. The issue is that when money gets involved now, because now that's gambling. If you guys all put it, do me a favor, bro. Yeah, no, can you call Mariam? Oh gosh, I'm using your phone. Yeah, yeah, please. Hi, assalamu alaikum. Yeah, Lee's coming down now, yeah. Shukran. Yeah. Oh, I got the keys. I'll send them back down. Oh, you got keys? Alright, cool. Alright, assalamu. Bye-bye. Sorry, guys. Can anybody just remind me what I was saying before?
If I'm doing a competition with my children,
no, sorry, can you just... Oh, man. What was the mess up? What was I saying?
we were talking about a raffle.
A raffle, but what did I say though? I said that there's a winner in principle, didn't I? There's a winner in principle. Then in such a case, there's no issue in doing some type of drawing of the lots to see who's going to win, providing that there's no money being exchanged. Because that's the issue. The issue is the money. Once the money's involved, so read it to me, Akhi, because I won't be able to see it well. What's the khulasa? Give me the khulasa.
It says this is from anyone seeing you, and you were not there when you cast their lots to see which of them takes charge of money.
Yeah, okay. With that, we'd have to go back to the tafsir.
I think it was the angels. Well, anyway.
Yeah, we'd have to go back to the tafsir and see what they say. But I just don't want to drag it on too much. Does that make sense so far now, guys? Yeah. Anybody not understand what I presented, or is it clear?
As long as gambling is not involved.
As long as no money.
Decide who
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
the prize, you
yes,
can.
yes. I mean, this is where my research has taken me so far. If I come across something new, I would definitely be sure to share it with you. So you guys are basically you're following me on the journey of looking into a mas'ala. You know what I'm saying? The teacher, the instructor won't always have the answers. Do you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to sit here even pretending I do. I won't know something, I'll go and research, and I'm in the midst of that journey right now. I might come back with a dalil next week and say, boy guys, guess what? We're gonna go over this direction now, or this is where the dalil's taking us. And that's the beauty of seeking knowledge. So your question was? Assalamu alaikum Muhammad, man. Yeah, right, I'm so sorry, bro. Wallahi, so sorry, man.
So would if you wanted to decide between your children who's going to be the winner, because all 3 of them done well, could you do like rock, paper, scissors to see who won?
Again, so where the journey's taken me so far, I would understand that would be absolutely okay. From what I understand though, I need to highlight that's my understanding. Do you know what I'm saying? But Jade, I'm happy with that. So we know what al-Azlam refers to, right? What does Azlam refer to? What's the singular version of al-Azlam?
Arab.
Singular, bro. Singular, ikhwani. Zalam. Who said Zalam? Amir? Abdurrahman? Man? Oh, Zalam. Excellent. Zalam. And Zalam is what is a Zalam? Arrow type. Yeah, it's called an arrow. It's called an arrow. Saham, no problem. And what did the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what is he speaking about when he speaks about al-Azlam? When he says that it's a rijsun. What is al-Azlam? I know it's arrows, but what was the practice?
Using them to determine what you're going to do.
By doing what?
By writing on them.
By writing certain things, and whatever one you pick. Fantastic.
So I just wanted to say, I was almost like the angels, it was Zachary, and I was like, who's going to take charge of Maryam?
Okay. Got you. Again, we'd have to research that and go into the tafsir about that. Alright, fantastic guys, man. Well done. Alright, so today, inshaAllah tabaraka wa ta'ala, we are going to start. Okay, so I should have really just read this hadith last time. So hadith 28. Hadith 28 coincides with It's a continuation of the previous mas'ala that was covering about semen. So we're just going to read it just so that we can read every single hadith in the book. Then inshallah ta'ala we'll move on to the new stuff. Is that okay, akhi? Alright, bismillah.
في لفظ له لقد كنت أحكه يابس بظفري من ثوبه صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Excellent, akhi. I'm going to ask you just, that was fantastic, you did so good, but can you just come a little bit closer, please, bro? Thank you so much. Please, just so we can catch you on the mic and that.
وفي لفظ له لقد كنت أحكه يابس بظفري من ثوبه صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Excellent. Which means, in yet another version of Muslim, so it's the same hadith that we covered previously. Verily, i.e. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, used to scrape it, i.e. the semen, off of his garment sallallahu alayhi wasallam with my nails while it was dry. And again, ikhwani fillah, this all indicates what? All of these ahadith indicate what, ikhwani? A little bit louder, bro. The purity of semen. The purity of semen. Right? And just because we wash it when it's wet, it doesn't necessitate now that is najis. Do you understand? Because that's the argument of who? That's the argument of who, guys? Huh? Speak up, bro. That say what? That say that it's najis. Guys, it's so important that we stay with these really detailed issues here. The reason why those ulama who say semen's najis is that they say that the hadith, even the same hadith that we use, or the group that say it isn't najis, it's pure, they use the same hadith. And they say the Prophet washed it. He washed it with water, and he used to wash it with water, and I could see the stain or the effects of the water. So they say there's proof that you have to wash it if you ejaculate or some semen comes on your clothes. Does that make sense? But the argument is no. Just because you wash something to remove it, it don't mean that it's najis. You dealt with that for me. Oh, wicked. Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, might as well leave it. It was a waste of a journey, to be honest. I'm mad. Does that make sense, ikhwani? Clear, right? Clear, yeah? Like, again, as well, it's quite difficult to conceptualize what I'm about to say, because one's socially not acceptable, the other one's like, But if somebody's hand, la qadrahullah, went in spit, saliva, somebody spat on a bench, I don't know, or whatever, bus, and you so happen to go in somebody's saliva, versus somebody did the nasty outside in the street on a bench, and you went to sit down and you got that on your hand, which one would you prefer to have on your hand? If spit, it's just a bit more socially acceptable. But the reality is, they're the same in the sense that for the people that say it's pure, they're both like hygienically nasty. Spit. Today I was walking, right? What's snot? Snot impure? If snot gets on your clothes, let's say you sneeze, and then you got some snot on your thing, is it najis? Your one might be though. Huh? No. I swear to God, that come up from nowhere. I didn't even know I was going to say it. It's only when you looked at me, no. So, even snot, my point is, even snot, right? I saw a man walking down the street today, right? Muslim, and he was doing it with his right hand as well. He was sneezing, and then he was like, no, so he didn't sneeze, he just blowed. You know, like the footballers do. But at least they put their hand on one of the nostrils and it just goes. This guy went like that, and then he went whoosh. I was like, oh my gosh. So I was looking to see how close he was behind me. I didn't want him to come and send salam or nothing. So I quickly walked to the car, opened it up. He's majhool. This is a ghiba. Nobody knows who it was. I don't even know he's. That's not nice, akhi. That's not nice. And then anyway, the second time I looked at it, honestly, guys, he did it twice, right? My point is this: he did it twice, and I felt like I was in the twilight between the first and the second time. The first time I was thinking, he's nasty. The second thing I was like, but it's pure. It's like, Ned, it's like, can I really say that he's nasty? And then I said, no, he's nasty. I went in the car. I said, guy's nasty. I said to my wife, no, he's not. I said to my wife, blah blah blah. She was like, So I didn't feel as bad that I felt that it was nasty. But the reality is, it's not impure.
He's not watching on Instagram.
Yeah, let's hope, man. Let's hope. Do you understand what I'm saying, guys? It's not impure. So, you know, if you got in your clothes, just like spit or semen, it's not going to make it, it's not going to invalidate the salah. But, like you said, even if you had jam on your garment, you're going to take it off with water because it's suitable for that. So that's really, really important to know, guys. I just really wanted to explain that. I'm so sorry, guys, man. I was asked a question again at last lesson by the brother that was sitting there. I think they're from the East London crew. He's not there now, bro. I'm saying last lesson he was sitting right there, and he said, does Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan speak about the difference of opinion, Hanbali and this and that? And when I listened back to the answer, I didn't even answer the question. I said to him, I started telling him about the reference points that I use, and the answer is Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan, sometimes he might mention what the Hanabila say, what the Malikiyya say, or Shafi'iyya and stuff like this, or the Ahnaf, but not all the time he does. That's all I wanted to say to the brother. We cool, guys? Can we move on? Yeah? Any questions? Tafaddal akhi, if you can start reading the next hadith, inshallah tabaraka wa ta'ala.
وعن أبي سمح رضي الله عنه قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يغسل من بول الجاريات ويرش من بول الغلام.
Say again?
الغلام.
Excellent, well done. Then the translation is Abu As-Samh narrated that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the urine of a baby boy, baby girl, my bad, thank you. The urine of a baby girl should be washed off, and the urine of a baby boy should be sprinkled with water. One more time. The urine of a baby girl should be washed off, and the urine of a baby boy should be sprinkled with water. This has been reported by Abu Dawood and An-Nasa'i, and Al-Hakim graded it Sahih, sound. Alright, guys, sound. Yeah, I'm gonna get there. We all got that down in English? Yeah? We got that? Excellent. Now, based upon the translation I've just given you, who can think they can extract what the chapter heading is, or the hadith heading is? Okay, mashallah, preempting the question. Go on, take us that. Go for it. What invalidates the wudu? Interesting. Why did you say that? Okay.
It'll be the difference between baby boys and baby girls.
Look at that. I'll take that, man. Not so much the difference as such, although it is speaking about the difference, it's how. Oh, sorry. But his is more specific. How to purify a garment from a young boy and a young girl's urine. That's what we're speaking about in essence. So when you said the difference, in essence, it's the same thing, but it's telling you how to do it. It's not really telling you, to be honest with you, the hadith doesn't tell you the difference between the urine. It just tells you the difference in how you should clean them. Do you know what I'm saying? Fantastic. Well done. That's the title heading of this. So when you get the title heading, it allows you to understand a little bit better what the hadith is dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And again, might I add, the author of the book, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, he's not the one that came up with these headings that I'm giving you. These headings are headings that another scholar that has explained Ibn Hajar's book, he put. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's a fa'idah. When an alim explains a book, then you've got another alim that comes and explains that book. He might come with things that this alim didn't have. And that's a huge blessing, benefit, shall I say. Jade. So kayfiyatu تطهير الثوب من بول الغلام والجارية. Now, for those of you that are, Arabic speaking like yourself, Akhi, and Abu Sumayr like yourself, you can see that I've highlighted 3 words in Arabic. Abu Sumayr, give me the first word that I've highlighted, please. In Arabic. Al-Jariyah. Alright, it's the first word that I've highlighted. Taymiyah. Taysir. Sorry, Taysir. Give me the second word that I highlighted in Arabic. Yurash. Excellent. Excellent. And Akhi, Abdurrahman, give me the third word. Al-Ghulam. Alright, excellent. So for those of you that study in Arabic, I'm going to tell you the difference between all of these 3 words. So the word Al-Jariyah is speaking about the little girl fi zaman al-Rada'a, who's still being breastfed. Al-Jariyah refers to the young girl who is still being breastfed. So I think it's safe to say between 0 and 2 years old, give or take, right? And then the word Yurash, the second word now, although it's been translated into English as sprinkle, what Shaykh Abdullah Fawzan explains, he says, يَصُبُّ عَلَيْهِ الْمَاء بِحَيْثُ يَعُمُّ مَكَانَ الْبَوْلِ, that you simply pour water on the affected area such that it just encompasses, or it generally goes on the place where the wee is. So that's kind of a different connotation from the word sprinkle. Does that would you agree? When you say sprinkle, what do you think of that? Light. That's what you understand. Do you know what I'm saying? And again, Ikhwani, I can't stress this enough. This is, a ramification of just not knowing a language well. Because if you just read this in the book and you heard, furthermore, let me ask the question: who's heard sprinkle before as it relates to cleaning a boy's urine? Have you heard sprinkle? Every time in English you've studied the word sprinkle, you've never heard it as explained as يَصُبُّ عَلَيْهِ الْمَاء حَيْثُ. Do you know what I'm saying? Either it's still advantageous to study Arabic, because you just pick up these little things from the mouths or the pens of the ulama. Alright, the last word now, al-Ghulam, the last word in the hadith which is highlighted. Al-Ghulam refers to a young boy anywhere from between the time that boy was born up until puberty. That's what the word al-Ghulam can refer to. How many times have you heard in a hadith, Abu Sumayya, the Prophet ﷺ say, Ya Ghulam? Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, young boy. So a ghulam can include from like the time you were born all the way up until a boy reaches puberty. However, guys, I need to pay attention now. The word ghulam here in this hadith isn't referring to a boy all the way up to the age of puberty. That's important. Why? Or who is it referring to? It's referring to similarly like the young girl that was from 0 to 2. She was still being breastfed. That's what's intended by a young boy here. And the reason why that is the case, or the reason why the ulama say this, is because there is another hadith in At-Tirmidhi's collection of hadith, whereby in that hadith the wording is Būloogh al-Ghulam al-Radi'. The word al-Radi' refers to a child that's being breastfed. So because al-Radi' quantified al-Ghulam, the ulama say that the Ghulam in this hadith, even though it's not mentioned that it's the breastfeeding boy, that's what's intended. Do you understand? Another way they say is that so long as the child isn't eating like soluble, so is it not soluble? Solids. Huh? So? You're wicked, man, I swear. If I didn't know any better, I thought you planned that, man. That was smooth. That was smooth, man. So as long as the child ain't eating solids, and really by the time a child gets to about 2, that's when you start to feed them solids, or there or thereabouts. So I just wanted to mention that the word ghulam can mean what, guys? Don't be shy. It can be 0 and puberty. Excellent. But what's intended by al-ghulam in the hadith? Up to be breastfed age. Wicked. Excellent. That's good. That's really good, man. Jade, So what can we benefit from this hadith? The first thing we can benefit, guys, from the benefits of the hadith, if you guys want to write it down, is that, as you said, my bro Amani, there is a difference between the urine of a young boy and the urine of a young girl. Simple. That's the first thing that can be benefited. The ulama, they do go into as to why they believe that there's a difference between the aforementioned two types of children, right? But I don't want to get into that. I don't think it's the time right now to get into why they say. You want to get into that? But no, we don't get into that. Huh? Okay, one of the things that I read was that, what did they say? They said that with a girl, remember back in those days, they probably never had nappies, or they didn't have nappies as we have them. They may have had cloths. Sometimes the child might not have been wearing anything, or whatever the case may be. But with a girl versus a boy, young girl, one of the alim said, Sheikh Abdullah Fawzan, he said that because when a boy goes urine, it can go everywhere, here, there, and everywhere. It's not just like fi makan wahid. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially the younger the boy, he's not going to be able to control where it goes. Do you know what I'm saying? But opposed to a girl that goes just kind of in one place. But even for me, when I read that, I was like, all right, I get what you're saying, but is that always the case? A girl might wee, and it might not just drop perfectly in one spot. It might go down her leg a little bit and kind of go all over the place. So I don't know how strong that is. The other thing that they mentioned is that boys are carried more than girls, or that there was more boys, or something along those lines. So you know, just like the cat issue. Why did we say that the cat was pure? Because it's always around. It would be difficult to now stipulate. By the way, I swear to God, after these hadith, my wife went and got a cat. I told you I don't like cats, right? I don't like cats. They went and got a cat. I swear to God, for the past week, I've been living with a cat. So it's fun. No, but on a serious note, it's been interesting because I didn't like cats before. Anything that animal licking and stuff. But because of the hadith, I went against my nafs. I swear to God. And I still don't play with it, but I let it be in the house. I let the kids touch it. I'm not like, if they touch it, I won't say go wash your hands before they touch me now. Because before I'll be like, have you washed your hands? That's how thing I am of cats. If you touch a cat, don't touch me, or a dog for that matter. But now I'm a bit. The only time I say wash your hands if they can make me some tea or an egg sandwich or something like that. I say, and I think that's fair though. I think that's fair. That's not saying that they're najis though. But my point is this: that's what they say. The fact that a boy wheezed more, or they were carried more, it would have been haraj. Again, it's like, they don't sound like good reasons as to why you sprinkle this one, but you have to wash this. To me, I'm happy to say that's what the Prophet said, just do it. Yeah. That's why I said I didn't want to get into it. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? It's a bit strange.
More times that, sometimes just follow what Allah was just say later on science or medical come and start giving some proof.
That's it. Akhi, bro, I even read something to say that, like, maybe because the girls' wee smells more than the boys' wee. And I'm like, really? Doesn't that depend on like what you eat and how healthy your body is? Because sometimes your wee could be really. Maybe at that age. Maybe. These are just the reasons. I was just like, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Good thing I read that then, innit? Because I was gonna skip that because I wasn't gonna mention it. But I thought, you know what? Let me just read it. And you asked me that question. All right. The next benefit, guys, for those that I want to write down, that the ruling. All right. The ruling of whether you wash it or whether you sprinkle it is restricted to either lam yakul at-ta'am, if the child is not yet eating food, solids, so solids. All right, if the child isn't eating solids. And I just written my notes, كما تدل عليه الأحاديث الصحيحة, just like there's some the authentic ahadith indicate. Now, because I didn't want to get into the mas'ala right now, I read the ahadith that indicate that they mention the child that you can sprinkle is a child that hasn't eaten food. The actual wording is there, so it's suffice to say that the word ghulam that's mentioned in these other ahadith is pertaining to a child that hasn't eaten yet, even though there's no mention of it in this hadith. Does that make sense, guys? There's no mention of it in the hadith. So really, we should be saying, well, why are they defining a ghulam as a child that hasn't eaten yet? Do you know what I'm saying? You guys just took that from me. Nobody questioned. I said a ghulam is from birth to puberty. Right? I gave you the definition. And then I came out of that definition and I said, well, except in this hadith, it's talking from 0, for example, to 2. Nobody said to me, well, why do you say that? Where did they get that from? Everyone just took it. Be careful, guys. Be careful. The reason why they say that is because there are other ahadith that Ibn Hajar didn't mention, which refer to the young child boy that you can, the urine of the boy that you can sprinkle is a young boy. Is a young boy that still hasn't eaten food yet. Does that make sense, Abu Sumaya? Clear, right? You think that was like a kind of a detailed point there? It was easy to miss, right? It was very easy to miss. All right, Jade, any questions, guys, before we move on to the next hadith? We good? Bismillah. If you don't mind, my bro. And this is going to be the last hadith, right? Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up after this today, guys.
وأن أسماء بنت أبي بكر رضي الله عنهما أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال في دم الحيض يصيب ثوب تحته ثم تقرصه بالماء ثم تنضحه ثم تصلى فيه ثم تصلي فيه متفق عليه.
Excellent. All right, guys. The meaning of this hadith is Asma bint Abi Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anha narrated. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi was anhuma narrated. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said regarding menstruation blood, obviously of the woman, all right, that smears a garment, yani that basically goes onto a garment, right? That goes onto a garment. She should scrape it, rub it with water, then wash it, and then she must pray in it. All right? One more time. She should scrape it, rub it with water, then wash it, and then she may pray in it. And this hadith is muttafaqun alayhi. Who can remember what muttafaqun alayhi means?
Agreed upon between Imam Muslim and Imam
Al-Bukhari wa Muslim. Excellent, akhi. What's your name?
Sanan.
Sana'an.
Yeah.
Where are you from, akhi?
I'm from
Pakistan.
Pakistan.
Sana'an. Is it with a ayn? Sana'an.
It's with the Swad, Noon, Alif, and Noon.
Oh, Sannan. Sannan. You're the first Sannan that I've ever met. I've never heard of a name like that before. MashaAllah. طيب, again, guys, how many words have I made bold in this hadith? 3. Excellent. The first one is tahuttu, right? The first one, tahuttu. For those of you, obviously, that are not studying Arabic yet, this part is obviously not for you guys. But what's intended by that, guys, where it says tahuttu, we've translated it as she should scrape it. What's intended by that is removing what we call the ayn, or the what we're gonna say, we're gonna call it the ayn, moving the ayn of the najasa, or the blood. So let's say that there's blood on on a woman's phobe, right? And she scrapes it such that something of the blood's gone. Help me out, akhi. Not the middle, it's again, not the thickness, like, all right, if you scrape the blood off, there's obviously still going to be what? A trace. But what are you taking away before the trace is left? The ayn of the dam, the matter, if you want to call it the matter. The matter. That's what's intended. But again, when I used to read these hadith, when it says you should scrape it, what's the first thing that comes into your mind? Scrape it with what? That's what you think of, right? But when I was reading the explanation from the Shaykh, he was like, no, with a stone or a stick. And I was like, that feels so much to me like scraping blood with your nails. It might, do you know what I'm saying? It could be construed as a, do you know what I'm saying? Because whatever, you might eat food and there might be remnants underneath your nail. But what I'm trying to say is, when you read it, she would scrape it.
That's what I'm saying. I was saying that's why it makes more sense.
It's-
If it's the najis,
Do you know what
it's
I'm-
not the najis, but that's najis. Though. We keep
You keep saying najis, by the way. It's not najis, it's
Najis.
najis. Yeah, you're giving an alif after the noon. Does that make sense, guys? Blood, as we're going to see in a minute, there's a difference of opinion as it relates to, is it impure or pure? What's your opinion? Impure. Okay, cool. The difference of opinion as it relates to if it's impure or pure, but needless to say, when you hear that, what's intended, that a woman scrapes the blood with a stick and a stone, it just feels a bit more hygienic. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know, but my nafs felt more. I was like, phew. It just felt relieved when I read that. Anyway, she should scrape it with a stone or a stick. ثم تقرصه. The word تقرصه, إخواني في الله, that's the second word. For those of you that are writing, studying Arabic, the second word تقرصه, it means to rub the blood with the edges of your finger and ma. So remember, you've taken off the matter. The matter's gone. Do you know what I'm saying? And now what you left with? The athar, the trace. So what they're saying is, now you get water, you put it on the affected area, and then you can get your fingers and, do like this to scrape it off. ثم تنضحه, and then you wash it, and then you give it the proper scrub where you get the water so it's clean. ثم تصلي فيه. So the last word تنضح means تغسل بالماء, wash it with water. So it's gone through 3 stages of removing that impurity. The first was scraping it, the first was using some water and rubbing it, and then the last one was what? Washing it completely. Make sense, ikhwani? Mumtaz. Beat? Okay.
What did you say the difference was between rubbing with water and washing it?
Again, so rubbing, that you're going to get your hands involved in the rubbing process, and then the water, tandahuhu, is going to, obviously reapplying water and giving it a more thorough wash, but only that affected area, not the whole garment. But in saying that, subhanallah wa bihamdi, again, it's not mentioned here, it's just like, additional reading that I did, I came across something that suggested, and I'm going to say it's been said, so I'm not attributing it to Aisha, but it's been said that she used to, after doing that, what I just mentioned, she would just sprinkle the rest of the thobe that had not been affected with the period blood or the menstruation blood. And what the Sheikh said was, that's because it just goes to show the purity of her and how she was as a person. She didn't do it because you had to do it. Do you know what I'm saying? She didn't do it because she had to do it, but it was just her pure nature that she washed the area and she just, put some water on the other garments. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. I was going to say something, Akhi, but I just totally forgot when you put your hand up. God, what's your question?
Do you have to go through all that every time?
Run that one by me again, bro.
You have to scratch it and rub it every time, or can you just like turn washing machine?
Okay, good question. Good, very, very, very good question. You're obviously speaking about a woman, not me, right? Yeah. I'll let you go on that one, Akhi, because me and you are cool, and I know your dad, and he's here, so we're gonna stay cool, man. But yeah, that's a very good question, man. Does a washing machine now take the same ruling? And I'm gonna answer this in 2 ways. Way number one, I haven't read any of the ulama. I haven't read any of the ulama speak about this. But what I'm obviously inclined to say is yes, because the whole maqsood of this process is getting rid of the najasa. And when you put an item of clothing in the washing machine, it does exactly that. Do you know what I'm saying? It does exactly that. There's a process of the najasa, or the ayn and najasa being taken away. There's a process of that area being, scrubbed. Okay, the fingers weren't involved, but the reality is that that garment comes out, and it probably will come out cleaner than, doing it with your hands. That's the reality. Does anybody have anything to add to that? So he had his hand up first, but I'm saying what we just spoke about. Does anybody have anything to add? No? Cool.
Just to clarify something, right? So when a woman's on a period, they don't pray, right?
Sure,
And
good.
So, but when they finish,
Yeah.
they not make ghusl.
Yeah?
So when they do that, they then change into, they won't use the same clothes that they had before, but then they have new clothes. So when is it the time they will actually be cleaning off? Is it a time when they've worn the same clothes before and realize, oh, there's blood, then clean it? Like, I just want to know, because it's not like they're praying while they're on it and then they see, oh, yeah.
Akhi, that's a fantastic question, man. That's a proper deep question, and it goes to show that you were proper thinking about this masala. You had to have been thinking about it hard to say, wait a minute, hold on. If she's on a period, she's not praying anyway. So when would there be a time when there's period blood on her such that she'll just wash it real quick? Was she wearing the same garms? Or did it happen and she took it off and she put it back on again? It's a fantastic question, man. But go on while I think about it.
But the Hadith doesn't necessarily say, it says then she may pray in it, which means it's tahir. You can pray in it after that. It doesn't mean that she's going to pray in it straight away. It means that now it's clean.
Yeah.
So when she needs to pray in it, she can use it.
That's where I was gonna go. Yeah, that's where I'm gonna go. So let's say, for example, a woman, you know, she came on a period and now she don't have to pray now, but she's still gonna have to pray in 7 days, 5 days, however long the period lasts for. So she's still gonna clean it. Whether she takes that photo off and then puts it back on, you know, later on, then, do you know what I'm saying? That's the way that you can consolidate.
Maybe back then, because they wouldn't have had like
bare clothes, right? That's true. That's true. Yes, maybe they might have that one thing. It's not inconceivable back in the day.
Because you want it to be tahir, to hold that.
Yeah.
You're not going to pray in it. Like,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
want it to be clean.
Yeah.
If it's not,
Yeah, of course, yeah. Even if you're not praying, that's a good point. Abu Sumayr said, even if the woman isn't praying, she's still gonna want the garment that she's in to be, you know, clean and pure. She's not gonna want to be going around the house, sleeping in the bed, or cooking with impurities on her clothes. That was really good, man. That was really good. I like that. Barakallahu feek. I benefited, man. That was good. Now, Fadl, speak up though, please, bro, yeah? Because I'm not going to be lip reading at the moment.
Okay, is it going to be like, for example, the case is to have the blood of is to have, not the period?
Again, is this going to be the case?
The blood of is to have.
And what about it?
Because it comes any time, it does not relate to the period.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to do, and this is just from experience. I'm going to decline to answer that question respectfully, and I'm going to just research it and then just present what I find next time. I think that's the safer option. What was the question? The blood of al-istihada, that isn't period blood. What's the situation on that? So I'd feel safer to. Yeah, it's blood that can come up from a wound, but it's not period blood. It can like come at any time. Makes sense. Okay. This. Let me quickly just put the charger on, if you don't mind, guys. Thank you. Guys, are there any questions so far? Speak up though, bro, please.
The hadith is talking about how to clean a cloth that has been affected with the najis, right?
Yeah, but more specifically, period blood, thank you. Yeah.
Now, what is the masala about washing the clothes together, the one which has najis and the one which doesn't have?
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to repeat the question just to see if I've understood it properly. What's the ruling on washing clothes that has najasa on it mixed with clothes that don't have najasa in a washing machine?
Or any, like in the bucket of water?
Yeah, cool. Again, I can't say that I've looked into the mas'ala. I can't say that I've looked into what did the ulama say about stuff like this. But from my understanding, that you got two items of clothing. One has najasa, one doesn't have najasa. Put them in the washing machine. After it goes through the process of being washed, the amount of water, obviously the cleaning detergent and stuff like that, the process that it goes through, basically, it will take obviously the najasa away and any of its content, and it also cleans the other item of clothing. I just, in my nearly 15, 16 years of being a Muslim, I've never heard of anything that suggests you can't, for example, wash your thobe in the same washing machine as your wife's thobe or garment that may have a bit of blood on it from the period. I just haven't heard anything. You know, not saying that's deleted, but I'm just saying. Have you heard anything? Yeah. Does anybody want to add anything to what I've just said? Great question, Akh. So now let's get back to the mas'ala, because we're going to wrap it up now, inshallah tabaraka wa ta'ala. ما يستفاد من الحديث ما يستفاد من الحديث. As it states, the hadith is a clear indication, very clear indication, that the period blood, the menstruational blood or menstruation blood of a woman is najis. It's impure. The menstruation blood of a woman is impure. ويجب الغسل غسل قليله وكثيره. And whether you've got a lot of period blood or a little bit of period blood, it has to be washed. However, the Sharia, wallahu a'lam, according to Sheikh Abdullah Fawzan, it pardons an insignificant amount. Do you know what I'm saying? So if there's a little tiny speck remaining, yu'fa anhu. Alright, the religion, it overlooks. But as long as you get, you know, the vast majority, and that's the part, Sheikh Abdullah Fawzan, he mentioned that's the strongest opinion out of the opinion of the scholars. Meaning that obviously there's a difference of opinion about little specks. But he says the strongest opinion is, it's forgiven. It's pardoned. It's pardoned. Now, I asked Abu Sumay a little question a little while ago as it relates to blood. I said there's a difference of opinion amongst the ulama. We're going to get to it later. We'll get into it now. But I said, what's your position on ad-dam? And what did you say, Akhi?
It depends what type of blood.
No,
I said najis.
you said blood's najis. That's what we spoke about, right?
Yeah, I meant menstrual blood. I don't
No,
know
I'm
about blood.
no, I was talking about blood, bro.
No, but we was talking about menstruation.
Yeah, I know. But then I said, yeah, there's no difference.
Context, so you said.
Yeah, okay, maybe you misunderstood. What I was saying that.
I don't know about blood generally.
Yeah, okay,
Just
cool.
menstruational blood.
Yeah, there's no difference of opinion on menstruational blood, from what I came across anyway. But the issue is other blood. There's a difference of opinion on that. Is it najis, all blood's najis? Or is it only certain type of blood that is najis? This is what we're going to speak about now. The ulama say, some of them, as for nosebleeds, or as for your tooth falls out and the blood that comes out from your tooth, or as for somebody gets wounded, you know, I suppose that could probably include hijama as well, right? As for these type of things, hijama, everybody know does everybody know what hijama is? You there? Yeah? Cool. All of these bloods are included. They say that it is najis. They say that it's najis. It's not just period blood, it's all types of blood.
You say he doesn't know what it is.
Oh, hijama. Hijama, akhi, is a process of drawing blood from the body. All parts of your body. Head, cupping. Cupping. Wet cupping, dry cupping, and stuff like that. I've only ever had it done once in Medina when I went to apply for the university. I never had it done, oh gosh. I never had it done since, because I used fire. Yeah, man, use fire. You're not joking. Wallahi, use fire in a cup.
I've seen a video.
Oh, my one?
No, not yours.
Oh, I'm about to say, how you get that? Yeah, it's recorded, akhi.
no,
It's recorded, akhi. I fainted, bro. I fainted, man. I think I went swimming that day, which was my fault. So I didn't eat anything. And then I was like, all right, cool. I was like the dummy. Like, let me go first, you know, because it was me and another brother. You know, Eamon, Tommy Evans, ginger hair, Lewisham. They shaved off the bottom of my hair, right? So I just had that, the top bit. And then I was just like this. Just kept doing this now and again. I bet like that. I was like, what's he doing? And there's a brother, he was just looking like this. I said, bro, what is he doing? What's that feeling, man? And he wouldn't tell me, he was just like this. I come to realize, I only found out what he done when I saw him doing it to Tommy. I was like, bro, you let him do that to my back. He was getting fire, he'll get a piece of paper, like a really small, like this big, right? Light it, throw it in the cup, and put the cup on my back, because it sucks. It sucks. It does. Bro, it touched my skin, bro. Are you telling me that I did?
Yeah, they did touch your skin.
That's the most craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. So what? Have you never put a lighter on your skin? So there's no such thing as lighting candles for your wife. You're not on that vibe yet. You're not like that. Let's put it out there to the world. Abu Sumayya is not romantic. You sure you want this? Abu Sumayya is not romantic. You're finished. He's finished. He messed himself up. I was trying to help him.
Only on Valentine's.
No, astaghfirullah. What are you going, Akhi? I'm not with you, man. I was with you when you first started. I'm not with you in the second part. No, but come on, let's be real. You can burn yourself. You can be burnt by a fire, but no, you don't have a mark.
That's true. Yeah.
Of course. Talking about you've never been burnt, but no scar being.
It's like when there's a fire, like a big fire, you can stand close to it, you feel the heat.
You feel the heat, or even sometimes the fire might even touch your skin, and you'll be like, ooh, but it won't leave a mark. My point is this: it hurt me, and it did scar me actually, but it wasn't a fire scar. I had like 6 rings on my back. I had to take time off work. When I swear to God, and I haven't had it since. I want to get it, but I'm just traumatized by that. If I find the video, I'll show it to you.
I think it can be done without the fire.
Oh, of course. I mean, it should be done without. Like I said, I applied for the university maybe 12 years ago, something crazy like that. So it was like back in the day, Medina, not now.
Yeah, actually, I heard some brothers done it with snails, you know, pajama.
Snails, yeah. I'm just, I'm just funny about animals, Akhi.
Is it allowed?
I don't know. I've never come across that issue. If I'm honest, I don't know if you can do it with snails. Huh?
It's the same process.
It may.
Besides the-
He's just saying, is it?
It's very common in our
No, snails or leeches?
leeches.
Yeah, leeches, because not snails.
Yeah, I mean that's what he said. I don't know. I don't know. I say I don't know to everything that you just mentioned. I don't know. I don't even know. Even if they do that with snails or leeches, I don't even know if it's permissible to do that. I just don't know.
It is common, like the treatment in the Ayurveda. I don't know what you say for that. Natural treatment. When you go to the forest.
No, I'm not saying they don't do it.
Yeah.
They clearly do. What I'm saying is that I don't know the permissibility Islamically of doing it. That's it. That's what I'm saying. What's the last thing that we said, guys? You can just bring me up to speed. The last, no, not the last. The last mas'ala that we spoke about. The faida that.
Blood being najis.
Excellent.
And the cut, is it?
It's najis.
Good. So that's the first opinion. That all blood is impure. You know.
Is that the Jamhur, yeah?
Was that the Jumhur? Oh gosh. Can't remember if that was the majority of the scholars. To be honest with you, I can't remember. But needless to say, that's one opinion. The other opinion is that no. That it might be, Akhi. The other opinion is that no, all blood is pure, with the exception of period blood, menstruation blood. Why? Because the original default position of things in al-Islam is what? At-tahara. At-tahara. Well done, Akhi. That's a qaida that I've mentioned before. I've mentioned 2 that sound similar. Al-aslu fil ashya'i al-ibaha. The original default position of things in the dunya is that you're allowed to do it unless you've got a text, the dalil, to say that you can't. And also al-aslu fil ashya'i at-tahara. That the original default of things is that they're pure, semen pure, unless you've got a dalil to say otherwise. Do you know what I'm saying? So they say here, blood is pure, because there is we don't know no dalil to say that blood is impure. Stay with me one sec. ولا يوجد دليل يوجب غسل الدم إلا. The only hadith that we have, according to this opinion, the only hadith that we have pertaining to blood is the blood of a woman's period, and it clearly states that you have to wash it. And it's conceivable, well, it's well within the realms of reality, that the companions, especially them being warriors, fighters, these are Ahlul Jihad. So they're obviously going to get wounds, and it's not reported that none of them had to. This is deen, something so important.
So there's nothing about blood other than that.
This is what Sheikh Abdullah Fawzan mentioned in his book, as it relates to, you know. Again, this is what I'm going to come to you, bro. This is where my journey has taken me so far. إِلَّا الدَّمِ الْحَيْض مَعَ أَيْوَةٍ. So when I read that, I was like, because there is an ayah in the Quran, yeah? There is an ayah in the Quran. It's in Surah al-An'am, verse number, who can get it up in English for me, please? Surah, please? Pretty please? Do you know what I'm saying? Everyone just stood still. Oh, I'm going to give them, but nobody moved. I thought people were going to start moving. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you pick up your phone.
When you gave me the number, you got me in suspense. Like,
No, because I said Surah al-An'am, and everyone was just like this. I'm thinking, rah, everyone must be Hafad Quran. Surah al-An'am, so 140 or 145. If you don't mind, read that for me, please. It's 140 or 145. Yeah, there we go. But just give us the English.
Do you want to say?
I don't know. Okay.
All right. Okay. Do the Arabic and then we'll do the English. على طعام. Catch it, guys? What's he speaking about? What's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaking about? Yeah, so we heard the word rich, so we know something about impure. Did anybody catch any other words? Adam. What did we say Adam means? Blood. We've been saying dam today, dam al-hayd. Yeah, right? So we know something about blood, something about impure. Any other words? Khinzir, which is what? Pig. This is just a benefit, guys. See, like when you pick up these little words now, you're standing in salah, the imam's reciting, you hear him say dam, khinzir, rijs. You won't know 100% what he's saying, but like 20% there, and that would be really, it's a nice feeling that it brings. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you can, nice and loud, Abu Bakr, translate that hadith, that ayah for us.
Say, I do not find within that which was revealed to me.
So this is the Allah telling the Prophet, Qul, say, I do not find in anything that has been revealed to me.
Forbidden to one who would eat it unless it be a dead
Okay,
animal.
one sec. So basically, I don't find in anything that's been revealed to me, Quran or Sunnah, all right, as it relates to food, that anything's not allowed to be consumed except for
A dead animal.
a carcass that we've been talking about, which we said is what in Arabic? Who said meita? Man qala meita? Meita, mumtaz.
Or blood.
Did you say just blood?
It says or blood.
What's the next word after that?
Spilled out, or the flesh of swine.
Blood spilled out. Blood spilled out. The Arabic is dam masfoor, right? Is it masfoor? That's what I said. Oh, masfoor. At the end. Okay, jazakallah khair. So blood spilled out. What do we understand? It's not permissible to drink blood. But what's the blood spilled out? This is what caused me some kind of confusion. Blood spilled out, flowing blood. But even at that, is it saying that it's not permissible? It's not permissible to drink the blood, or consume in any way, shape, or form. No, I know it's najis. But I'm just saying, what's it? This is what the people use to say blood is najis. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think it means that the animal blood spilling out of it
Oh.
hasn't been sacrificed properly.
It hasn't been sacrificed properly.
Yeah,
What do you
it hasn't
mean?
been sacrificed, so it could have been shot, it could have been...
Okay,
stabbed,
okay. So the blood spilling out of the animal. I see what he's saying. Continue, Akhi.
For indeed it is impure.
Good. Keep going.
Or it be that slaughtered in disobedience, dedicated to other than Allah. But whoever is forced by necessity, neither desiring it nor transgressing its limit, then indeed your Lord is al-Ghafurur Rahim.
You hear that part there?
Forgiving and merciful.
What's the qaida that the ulama would extract from something like that?
Necessity,
Go on.
hardship.
Oh, come on, Akhi. You have to, yeah, you
That's it.
do you see it? So again, do you remember, guys, when I said that these qawaid guys, yeah, that obviously they've been extracted from the Quran and the Sunnah. You can memorize one qaida that can apply to this mas'ala, eating what would be haram meat in a case of a necessity, Or you can put yourself in another situation and you say, well, is this a legitimate necessity? I've got the qaida that's been extracted. So one qaida can help you out in 1,000 situations. But to memorize the hukum on this and then the hukum on that on 1,000 masail is going to be difficult. When you could just memorize a qaida that can get you out of 1,000 problems. Or 99 problems. Can I say that? Am I allowed? Joker. Yeah, all right, well done. So we know that the difference of opinion as it relates to blood. Some ulama say it's impure because of the ayah that you guys just read together, and some say no. There's nothing to say that blood is impure except the blood of menstruation and obviously the animal blood. But other than that, nosebleeds, a toothache, or a wound that you get, they say that there's nothing to show. And I personally, based upon the proof and the evidences, and what makes sense as well, I go with the second opinion. That if I had a nosebleed, a little bit of blood dropped to my foot, I wouldn't think that I'd have to wash it. What do you guys think, based upon the two positions? Who goes for the second opinion? That like nosebleed blood's not impure. Toothache, your tooth falls out, the blood's not impure. Who goes for the first opinion that blood is impure, based upon what we've covered today?
What we learned from the Shafi madhab is that a little bit blood comes out is okay.
Okay.
But when it is too much,
Yeah.
then that's where you...
Interesting. So my question to that then, how does the Shafi'i madhab quantify a lot versus a little? Because in water, are you a Shafi'i?
Well, I don't, that's where I started learning.
Got you. Because we have a hadith that tell us what is considered a lot of water and a little bit of water. What was a lot of water? Qullatayn fa akthar. Anything that's a qullatayn, two
buckets or two vessels worth.
Yeah, but again, that's it was about 200 kilograms or something along those lines. We don't quantify. They translate as vessels and containers or buckets or stuff like that, but how long is a piece of string? Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, point is, I would like to know, for them to make that distinction. No, even I'm not saying to go and research it per se. I'm just generally speaking, for them to make that distinction between a little and a lot. Where was that? What is the asl? What's the origin for that categorization? All right, a little bit of blood, you don't have to. A lot of blood, then it becomes najis. That's what I would like to know. Because, I can imagine the scholars saying that. It's a lot of blood, it's najis. If it's a little bit of blood, it's not. But where does it come from anyway? Do you know what I'm saying? You forgot the question? No.
Yeah, I would agree with you because I was reading somewhere, even in war, they would take turns in praying. So 100% someone's going to get slashed. But they will still
See, that's a good, yeah.
It's just reminding me, it's like proof for it not being najis, I would say.
Remember, it's not najis. Najis.
One of the Sahaba, when he was in
That's
the garden, he was getting shot with arrows.
That's
and he
another.
continued his salah.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Wallahi, I swear to God, yeah. Both of those 2 points I mentioned, the scholars mention it, and I didn't write it, and I was thinking, please let me remember it, but I forgot it, and then you just reminded me. That's what convinced me. That the companions, when they were fighting, they would take it in turns, and obviously they're gonna get wounded. It's just within the realms of reality. You don't even need something to say they got wounded. You just know they're fighting, they're gonna get wounded. And also there was a companion, was he standing guard? Standing guard, guarding the ranks of the Muslims or the fortress or where the Muslims were located at that time. And he was praying and he got shot, if I'm not mistaken, with 3 arrows by a mushrik. He continued praying. And had it been obviously something that was, obviously if you get shot, the hadith doesn't have to say he got shot and then blood started to pour out. You just know if you're getting shot with an arrow, there's going to be blood somewhere, especially 3. If the first 2 don't get no blood, that third one's going to draw some type of blood. He continued praying. The Prophet ﷺ is not reported to have said his prayer was invalid. So these are strong evidences.
It's another proof. Remember the Sahabi when he needs his leg amputated?
Yeah.
to do
While I'm in salah, that's
because
another
that's
proof.
thing. So
That's
if
another
it was
proof.
najis, that would
That's
break
another.
salah.
That's another proof. Do you know what I'm saying? So again, we've just come up with so many strong pieces of evidences to suggest that not all them blood is najis. So imagine now you have that opinion as a Muslim, based upon sound knowledge and intellectual reasoning as well. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, but you just don't put that in front of the text. You don't put the aql in front of the naql. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we got a text, and then you use sound reasoning to understand that. That's beautiful. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's, imagine your dean's like that. Every position you hold in the deen, from little masail to big masail, is based upon dalil. What kind of a Muslim would you guys be, or would we be? We'll be like another level, and that's why you see the scholars move different, because they've got. Do you know what I'm saying? They move according to proof and evidences. And that's it. That's it, guys. Now, Sheikh.
Yeah, Allah, once the brother was saying, he says here, Allah notice how much is yasir?
Okay, good question. Good question. Very good question. Very good question. Okay, cool. So the question here is, he's gone to the Arabic text, right? And he said that I wrote annahu najis, that blood is najis. That's one of the opinions I told you, right? That blood is najis. However, a little bit, an insignificant amount, is pardoned. And that's not the first time I've said that. I said that when I spoke about the period blood of a woman as well. I said it's exactly the same expression is being used. The way I would answer that, Akhi, because I don't have a specific measurement of what's considered a lot or a little. However, when Sheikh Abdullah Fawzan was explaining it, he differentiates between qalil and yasir. What does qalil mean? What does yasir mean? It's Arabic. People will translate qalil as a little and yasir as a little. But the fact that the Sheikh said qalil, and then he went on to say yasir, what can we deduce? So what can we deduce?
There's little different amounts of little.
So we're talking about a little bit and
A little bit.
Mr. Little Man, little bit, a little bit. Obviously, what we're speaking about is it has to be what it's going to be considered as an insignificant amount. That's why I purposely said insignificant amount when I spoke about the period blood, and also here I say the same thing here. You know, does it go back to the urf of the people? Allah knows best. Allah knows best. But I'm sure that, you know, if one of us had a nosebleed and we saw just like 4 drops of blood on the table, everyone would say that's a little bit. But the moment that blood starts to pour and drip and looks like it's actually forming a shape, we might start to say that's a lot of blood, right? Maybe it goes back to the custom of the people. Allah knows best. You know what happened, my bro? It's cancelled, the first half cancelled, and then I done it straight again, but I can't see any questions. But I will check though. I did check last time as well. Is there any questions on the floor though? From the floor? No.
You see when this is separate to blood, yeah? But you see when you, like, for example, use the bathroom, clean yourself and so on, when you go to the wudu.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, for me personally, you get a little bit of discharge.
Urine.
After, yeah,
But
tiny bit though.
of urine discharge.
Yeah, but, so I'm thinking now, do I have to change my boxes and start all over again, my wudu, or?
It's a great question, man. It's a great question. You know, sometimes people, brothers, maybe women as well, I don't know, they suffer from, I believe it's called, there's a word for it, incontinence, whereby it happens all the time. Even down to the point where, you know, I've actually seen this as well. Somebody will break their wudu like every minute. Do you know, every minute breaking their wudu. Is it something to do with the digestive system or whatever? So it's not plausible now for a person to always breaking their wudu every 5 minutes or every like often to make wudu all the time. So you know, the ulama do say something. I can't remember exactly what they say. Is it just to make wudu before every salah? So even if you make it, then you start breaking it, you can just pray. because you've got, this person's got a problem. Similarly, if somebody's got
Consonants.
the issue that you're speaking about, basically, yeah. If they've got that, then if it's a problem, like an issue, and Allah knows best, they'd have to pray, because if it could come out when you're praying, it could keep coming out when you're praying. What do? You just keep having to stop. That's going to become more tiresome and difficult. But if that's the case, then just make sure that it's always clean prior to prayer. I'll give you an example, right? I used to have a bag. I don't know if any of you know what a stoma bag is. You guys are familiar? All right. Is anybody not familiar with a stoma bag? You don't know what a stoma bag is? Okay, cool. When there's been some kind of rupture, you know, to anybody's abdominal area, like somebody might get stabbed. It happens a lot to young black boys. They get stabbed. Or you might undergo a surgery, like when they cut some of my colon off. They had to give me a bag. They had to give me a bag, guys. And that bag was used for me to defecate in. Remember that period, bro? Wallahi, ikhwani fillah. One of the roughest periods of my life. Because you can't control it. Do you know what I'm saying? When they put me to sleep, your body goes to sleep, isn't it? Everything goes to sleep. I regained consciousness sometime later. My belly, just felt like, I was like, all right, cool, I got this bag, don't want it. But I was just quiet. Eating food, everything was normal. Little did I know that my belly had gone to sleep. And when that bad boy woke up, whew, you know, your muscles contracting and thing, I was in the most excruciating pain. To the point Abu Samir came to see me one time. I was like, bro, I rubbed my back. I got like gas on my back. He told me he was rubbing it so hard. I only felt the effects of it the next day. My back was all bruised up and I was skin and bone. Do you remember, bro? But needless to say, my belly went to sleep, and what would happen is when that started to produce feces again, because for days it didn't, it all built up in my belly. That's what was making me swollen in the pain. When it started to come out, it came out like water. I'm talking about water. If you pour water from a jug, that's how it just comes out. 1 minute you look, there's nothing in your bag, go like this, you look again, you might not even feel it come out. That's how the consistency is so watery. So I was obviously under I'm in a situation now that I have to ask, well, what do I do if I'm praying and it comes out? Because you can't control it. Even if you feel it, you can't control it. You can't control afar. So embarrassing. Do you remember you used to come to see me, bro, and I say, I'm sorry, Akhi, and you'd be like, stop saying sorry, man. It's not your fault. But I was just so embarrassed that you're talking to somebody and then, do you know what I'm saying? I can laugh about it now. Do you know, I see the funny side now. But at the time, I didn't see the funny side, man. It was just like, you know what I'm saying? That contributes to why you don't want to see nobody, because it's embarrassing. And then you start to get conscious that you smell, because you can smell yourself, you know? It was a rough time. But the answer to the question, bro, because Sheikh Muhammad Maliki had the same stoma bag, same colon cancer that I've got. And I asked him, he said that you make wudu, right, obviously before, and then whatever comes out whilst you're praying is forgiven. And this goes to show the beauty of the religion, the ease of the religion and the beauty of it, though, because if Allah wanted to, He could have said, I want, you know, you have to be upon purity. But that would have caused a big hardship for people. Do you know what I'm saying? So where there is a concession, where there is a legitimate reason for us to get some ease, the religion allows it. Dead carcass, you can eat it if you have to. Do you know what I'm saying? Everybody knows the importance of purity. Look, we've been covering this for 6 weeks. And we still got about another 8 weeks to go. And we're just skimming the surface of tahara. But even in such a delicate time when you're worshipping Allah, it's excused in certain times, you know what I'm saying? But you know, if you don't have a problem, though, just make sure you just finish properly before you get up. That's the other answer. Just make sure you. Okay, cool. Then you go with the first opinion. But some people just might be, they want to hurry up and get back to the computer games. They don't even finish. They think they think they got the issue, but they don't really have the issue. They just have to sit down and, do you know what I'm saying? Let it all come out. And Allah knows best. But that's it, guys. That's it, man. Inshallah, next week we will go from hadith number 31 and we're going to go straight to 40. So we're going to cover like about 9 hadith inshallah ta'ala. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Bro, there's no questions. No
You
questions.
destroyed my hardline image.
Yeah, no, you destroyed yourself,
You
bro.
made me look romantic now. You said I was rubbing your back.